There's no way they can prove it if it's not in your system. You know, if you say with like a smirk, like, no, I've never done it, they can't go, you look like you're lying. Don't say you've done it. There's no point. Because if you say you've done it, then they go, okay, now we have to go talk to a counselor and do a waiver, and that just adds more time and bullshit to your fucking processing. You know, let's get boom, 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 get in and out, right? So stuff like that. If you ever broken a bone but it's healed up now, don't tell them. I think because if it's fine and you know it's fine, it's never hurt you before, never troubled you, then you never broken a bone, you never really needed to say that. So getting your onboard to the desk, medical briefing, check your blood pressure, and then you go on to I guess this company's called Dianetics that has the computing software and whatever hardware to give you your fingerprint. So if you haven't gotten your fingerprint scanned yet, you do there. So you get your fingerprint and then your name, so they know that's your fingerprint. Go to that room. And if you haven't taken your ASVAB yet, they'll take you to your ASVAB, and that's a whole thing itself. It took 3 hours approximately. It wasn't that hard. It's not. I didn't get an amazing score. I got an okay score. I think decent, like a 64. That should provide me with a good option of jobs. One kid in my group got 90, and when we got back to the recruiting office, they immediately like shook his hand, like, all right, so I'm gonna send something to my chief, and I'm gonna see if you are good to go for the nuclear engineering program. So this kid is getting hooked up, and he's fresh out of high school. He's a smart kid, you know. But yeah, so I got like a 64. It wasn't that bad. 3 hour long tests. If you're in the Navy, I think it has a 1 or 2 extra subtests at the bottom of it. Math, English, you get the whole gist. The only thing in the object orientation, and make sure you know how to put certain shapes together to make the actual right picture. The only one I wasn't expecting was the very end subtest, mental calculations or something like that. And this is just for the Navy, I was told. So 3 lines, each line basically equaling to 5, and then boxes will blank either on top or on the bottom of those lines. Not in any kind of sequence, just random. If it blinks on top, that's 1. So you add 1 to the 5, so that's 6. If it blinks on the bottom, you minus 1 to the 5, that's 4. It's not that easy. So it's like 1, 2 on the top, 1 on the bottom. You gotta remember where they blink in, and it might equal like 3, 4. You gotta remember, not just for one, but for all of them. They're always going at different speeds and all over the fucking computer. So blink, 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 blink. And then at the very end of it, you got to put in what you think is the number 664 359. Oh, not 9, but maybe it was 9, like 8s. I don't think they ever. Oh, I'll say this: they never. The numbers never got above 10. But that helps. It was difficult, so don't expect to like ace that one. And then there's also a coding speed. I think that was just for the Navy, just understanding how to read the numbers on a list and where the names are, and putting the numbers in that correspond with the name and the numbers. You'll get it when you get there. So that was the ASVAB. It wasn't that bad. Got 64 on it. And then after you finish your ASVAB, you go to your medical. And I believe this is where I had my first interview. I think I had it before. I'm pretty sure I had my first interview with a doctor after I took my ASVAB. And this is the guy that's fucking trying to see if you're lying or you're bullshitting. You sit down, he's got a smile on his face, a devious smile. This guy, he was nice though to me because I was able to kind of smooth around and talk with him and be his friend almost. Not really. Don't fucking think you can be friends with anybody there because you're just you're a face. You're not even a face. You're just a number. So yeah, he's like asked me stuff like, "Yo, have you ever smoked marijuana? Ever done drugs?" No. He goes, "Are you sure? You never hung out with your friends and they were doing stuff?" And you're like, "Hey, no, sir. Wear glasses?" I said, "Yeah, I do." Blah blah. I'm like, "But they're really for the most part just reading glasses." He goes, "Okay. Ever been stung by a bee?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Like it's like a big fucking deal. You've been stung by a bee?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have. I never fucking had an allergic reaction to it. It was fine. I just was like, oh, I got stung. Ow." He goes, "Oh, okay." And I was kind of like nervous. I'm like, oh, fuck, is this gonna fuck me up? So I asked him, "Do I need any documentation to show you that I've been stung by a bee?" And I wasn't meaning to be a smartass, but he laughs and he goes, "No, just if you say you've never been stung by a bee, then we don't know if you have an allergic reaction to it. And if you've been stung by a bee and you have been, then we'll know if you've been allergic to it, whatever." Passed it. He asked me if I ever smoked weed. I said no. He asked me a bunch of other questions. Broke your bone? No. Ever stayed at a hospital? No. You get the idea. Like I said, if it's not an issue, if it's not affecting you, then you don't have it. Finish that up, and then we went to the full-on medical, which is, you get your eyes checked, your ears checked, your blood taken. I still got a little mark on my arm from when I got my blood taken. That guy was cool, Navy guy. I'm not sure if they send you off to different medical rooms based on your branch, but the guy who did it with me was a young Navy guy. He was cool. It's like, hey, anyone want to get their blood taken by a blind guy? He was wearing glasses. So some of them are actually really laid back, but for the most part, the older people who are there are very strict, stern. They're not mean, but they don't smile. They're loud, and they talk fast. And if you don't remember what they're telling you, and you go back to ask them, they go, "You didn't listen the first time?" Stuff like that. So you go and get your eyes checked, get your ears checked, get your blood, and then you go take a piss. Like I said, I suggest you hold your piss all day. But make sure when you wake up that day before you go to MEPS, you piss. It's okay. Flush your body out, because at night, a lot of this stuff is going to be stuck in your system from the day before. A lot of vitamins and that can fuck you up. It fucked me up. I'll tell you about that a little bit later. I'll tell you about it right now. Urine. I failed my urine test. I passed everything else but my urine test, and the reason why I failed it is because I had too much protein. There's 3 reasons that could cause too much protein in your piss. 1, you'll be taking supplements. I used to take supplements. I stopped. Although I have been drinking a Slim Fast shake to make sure I'm eating the right amount, but also not too much. The whole making sure my weight's down. And I'm thinking, even though there's only 10 grams of protein in that, because it's in powdered form, it stays in my system. I'm thinking that might be it. Second thing, working out the day before, or working out 48 hours before you go to boot camp, before you go to MEPS. I did that. I worked out at the gym. I did weights. I ran. Running is fine. Cardio is good. But lifting weights, I guess, somehow puts protein in your piss. And I worked out the day before. So I suggest you don't do that. 48 hours before you go to MEPS, relax. Don't take any supplements for, I would say, at least a week. And don't work out. Just don't stress. All good. And the third reason is if you've had sex, or you jerked it, or whatever you did, you left some of that stuff in your body when it was coming out. I didn't do any of that stuff when I was at the hotel. My recruiters asked me when I got back, and they're like, "Did you?" I'm like, "No. I guess I just worked out." And they're like, "All right." So I have to go back either on Thursday or Monday to take another piss test. I gotta drive myself an hour and a half, 2 hours to just take a piss in a cup. Which is why I'm saying that's a bullshit for me. Don't go through that, guys. It's not worth it. So, and then after basic eyes, nose, ears. For your eyes, you walk into a room. They check if you're colorblind. I failed the first colorblind test. It's the circle picture with numbers that are hidden in colors. I failed that. Then you put your head in a little device, and a screen comes on with numbers and letters. That whole thing. Read the number. What's that whole thing? You get the whole 64 WHJ whatever. And then for the blood, you take the blood out, and the ears. You go in this little room. You sit in a room. It's like a silent room with like 3, 4, 5 other people. Put on headphones. Beep 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 beep. Click that. And then we go to the real kind of more physical, the one everyone knows that has the duck walk in it. So you get in this room, a bigger room. I would say it's 15, 20 feet wide, 30 feet long, something like that. Big room, just benches on the back and the sides, tile floor, open room. Okay, so you walk in there. I walked in there with like 6, 7 other guys, 9 maybe, I don't know, and get naked. You leave your underwear on, but you get there naked, and you're in front of all these guys, and then they tell you to line up in 2 lines, and then you do exercises. Stuff like put your arms over your head, put your feet together, and do the whole swimming, stroking thing, and move your arms, and make sure this stuff works. Turn your ankles, walking your toes, get down to your knees, fall, joints, stuff like that. Turn your hands over. Don't put your arms against your body and turn your hands. The duck walk, that's kind of silly. You have to put your hands on your hip. You gotta get down. You gotta crouch down on your toes. Put your hands on your hip, and then you gotta walk heel to toe with your legs open wide. I'm not gonna do it. It looks silly, but you do that, and then after that stuff, you go into your real physical. Also, before you do the duck walk and everything, they check your lungs, your back, all that stuff, your posture, and then while you're waiting in line to go to your physical, you get your height checked and your weight checked. I barely made it with my weight. There's a little story behind that. I think those guys kind of let me slide through because I was actually the last one to get my checkup done. My dick nuts and butts is what they call it. And so I was actually talking with them for a little bit, and they were kind of laid back. And so, anyways, I'm 5'9". I thought I was 5'10". If you're 5'10" and you're a male, you gotta be 191. If you're 5'9", you gotta be 186. When they weighed me, I was 187, 5'9". So I'm like, fuck. And they're like, yeah, you're 1 pound away. Here, I'll tape you once we're done. They tape me and measure me up. Your maximum percentage for me was 25. I was 26. And the guy who measured me, this Asian guy, he was really cool. He's like, yeah, how about we have another doctor measure you, and whichever one's the best, we'll go with that. I'm like, oh, fuck, okay, yeah. Sounds cool. So I get back in line, go to the physical. 2 older doctor guys are really cool. Drop your draws. So check your balls, check your nuts. Same thing. Check your dick and everything. Turn your head, cough. Just if you have a hernia, whatever. They'll also, to backtrack, they'll ask you if you have any skin conditions and stuff like that. And once again, if you don't, you don't. And if you do and they're not an issue, you don't. If they can't see it, at least. Then he'll say, all right, now face the wall and bend over. Okay, now spread your cheeks. 5 seconds. It's not a big deal. And really, when you're there and you're in the moment and this is so professional, that's actually almost one of the better points of the day because there's no stress about it for some reason. Because if your ass is clean, your ass is clean. If it's dirty, they don't give a shit. They'll leave it. But, they don't give a crap. The only thing that matters is, no hemorrhoids, nothing sticking out. Cool. So it took like 2 seconds. They just, you're done. Okay, turn around. And then they asked me how much weight I lost. And I'm like, oh, like 73 pounds. And the doctor's like, oh, wow, congratulations. I was not expecting any kind of personal thing going on. He's like, yeah, I lost 80 pounds myself. I'm like, all right, wow, cool. And then they go measure me again, do the tape. And I'm like, all right, this is do or die. So I suck my gut in the whole time before they get out so they don't see me sucking it in. I'm flexing. And they tape measure me up. And they go, 75%. I pass. I'm like, I'm so fucking happy. I'm like, am I allowed to shake your hand, sir? He laughs. He goes, oh, no, it's okay. So I'm walking out of there fucking, I'm on cloud 9. I'm happy. I didn't think I was going to fucking pass that weight stuff, So I passed that. See, I'm glad I fucking skipped out on that sausage and that bacon and that McDonald's, because if I did that, there's no way I would fucking have been able to suck enough in it. So play smart. And then I went and did my final interview with a doctor, just basically telling me what's going on. He told me that my piss had so much protein in it. He asked me if I had sex the day before. I say no. Oh, excuse me. So he's all right. So you gotta come back another time within 3 days. I think they said 3 days to take a piss. So I take that and I walk down to the Navy office. Speak to a chief. He tells me to come back. I'm not allowed to pick a job because technically I'm on temporary medical disqualification because of the piss. I got to go back within a couple days to take a piss again, make sure that is good, and then I'm able to go back another day to pick my job and swear in, or at least sign the job contract. And I haven't really decided what job I want. I have a list of jobs. I'm not going to read it to you. There's a lot of stuff, but I'm really just going to take whatever that's available. I'm going to say, okay, what's my options, and just pick the best one from there. Because that way, if you have a job set in your mind, like, oh, I want this job, and you fail the ASVAB enough for that job, you're gonna be crushed and disappointed. You're gonna be sad. This guy who went with me in the van, he wanted to be a master at arms, a police officer in the Navy. He was off by 1 point on his line score. I think the line score for him was 72. He got 71. They can't waiver that shit. Or if they can, they did it for him. So he got disappointed. He was bummed out the whole day. I saw that. So make sure you kind of have your options open. And also, if you qualify the job you want, it might not be open. You might have to wait a long ass time. And unless you're okay with that, I would suggest just keeping your mind open. So yeah, that's pretty much my whole experience at MEPS. It wasn't that bad. It was kind of fun. You know, when you're there, you're nervous as fuck because there's all these serious people walking around. They're talking fast, all that shit. But excuse me for cussing. My goodness. Yeah, it wasn't that bad, and it gets kind of fun because you're walking around, and once you start making progress and you start passing tests, and you go, "Oh my god, I'm actually doing this. I'm actually fucking making my way into the military, no problem." You get kind of excited, you know, and also you get to see people walking around that you familiar faces from the hotel that you spoke with or the van, and you see what's going on with them. Like, hey, so what do you get on this? Just make sure no one sees you, because at one point we were comparing ASVAB scores in the medical lobby, and one of the guys behind the counter goes, "You guys comparing notes? You can't fucking do that." Oh, he didn't say fuck. They don't cuss, actually. I've noticed no one cussed. Really cool. So it wasn't that bad. If you're kind of stressed about it, don't stress about it. It's professional. You go in there to do some work, fill it out. Like I said, you know, make sure you eat healthy before. Don't exercise. I would say if you're on proteins, you're on any kind of supplement, stop that a week ahead of time. If you know, if you're down to your weight, if you're trying to get down to a weight, work your fucking ass off before 2 days before you go to MEPS. The day before you actually leave to the hotel, if you're going to stay at the hotel. Because after that, stop. You don't want to come back to go take a piss test. If you didn't make the weight, you didn't make the weight. Sorry. Cardio is okay. Just eat a lot of greens, drink a lot of water, flush yourself out. My pee was pretty dark. I was kind of dehydrated, and that might have affected my protein levels based on the amount I gave, because I didn't dilute it enough with water. That's basically it. You know, some people pass and they're going back on Monday to pick their jobs. I'm going back on Monday or Thursday to piss in the cup, and I'll go back the week later to pick my job and all that stuff. But it wasn't that bad. The hotel was cool. People were nice. The MEPS took 8 hours. It started, you know, if you want to count waking up, we woke up at 3. I left on the way home to MEPS back to Riverside by 2 something, I think. We didn't get back till like 4. And then my girlfriend picked me up and she'd go, "What happened?" I'm like, "Nuts and butts." And, you know, that's basically it. You know, the only thing I can, you know, I have nothing else to say other than eat right, study as much as you can, and get your rest. Enjoy the hotel, because working out is not good for you. Study as much as you can. If not, and just swim in the pool, sit in the sauna, hang out. Don't jerk it before you go to the fucking MEPS. Keep that dick clean, you know. And I'll have a video soon to explain my piss situation. If they give me any more info on how to handle that, I'll tell you. And I'll tell you what's going on with my job placement. And when I'm in the late entry programming, what that's like. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm not going to say the whole, you know, subscribe and like thing, because I'm not a hardcore fucking YouTuber. I don't give a shit. I'm just here giving you information that I now can give you, because I always watch the videos on YouTube of people saying, "Oh yeah, I did this, I did that. This is my experience," and it really helped me out. So I want to give back that as well. Any questions, feel free to ask. I'll give you, whatever I can based on my experiences. And until then, I'm going to make another video soon telling you what's going on. So the only thing I can say is good luck.